Okay, think about this for a second. What's one of the smallest words we use, but maybe, just maybe, has the biggest impact?
That's a good one.
For me, I keep coming back to why, just 3 letters. But wow, it can unlock so much understanding, drive real success, especially, when we talk business ownership and definitely franchising.
Absolutely. It's a fundamental, really, the bedrock of genuine insight.
So today, that's our deep dive. We're looking into the power packed into that little word why, exploring just how crucial it is for anyone in business, but with a real focus on people navigating the franchise world.
Yeah, and we've got some really interesting material here that kind of unpacks this from different angles. It's not just theory, it's practical stuff.
Exactly. We've pulled some focus bits that really show why asking why. It's
Yes.
almost like a superpower in business.
A superpower, I like that.
Our mission, if you will, is to get a real handle on how and why just asking why is so key. Key for clarity, for sparking new ideas, for fueling growth, whether you're just thinking about franchising or, you're already deep in it.
And it's fascinating, isn't it, how this isn't just for like startups or small businesses. Think about Amazon. Their CEO, Andy Jassy, he's actually on record saying curiosity and specifically asking why all the time. Well, that's the most important trait a professional can develop.
Wow. Coming from Amazon.
Right, a company known for shaking things up, constantly questioning. That really tells you something about how powerful this simple question is.
Okay, so let's start unpacking that a bit. It's pretty interesting. The material we looked at points out that asking why is basically the first analytical tool we ever developed, as kids.
Oh, definitely. You see it constantly.
Why is the sky blue?
Yeah.
Why do I have to eat broccoli? It's just this built-in human thing, right? Trying to make sense of everything, find the patterns, figure out the logic behind stuff.
That drive is so strong early on, but, something happens, doesn't it? As we get older, maybe school, maybe work, external pressures, kind of dull that natural curiosity sometimes.
Yeah, you get told just follow the rules, or that's just how we do it here.
Exactly. But what our sources are really stressing is that in business, you have to consciously fight that. You need to reclaim that innate curiosity. It's not just nice to have, it's pretty essential for success, for staying ahead.
It really is. Because why does so much heavy lifting? I mean, first off, it makes you get real clear on your motivation. Why are we actually doing this project? Why does this specific goal matter?
Gets right to the purpose. And it's also incredibly powerful for digging beneath the surface of problems.
Right. Not just patching symptoms.
No, exactly. Asking why, maybe a few times.
Yeah.
It helps you peel back the layers and find the actual root cause so you can fix it properly for good.
And it's brilliant for challenging assumptions, isn't it? That whole, because we've always done it this way,
Wow,
trap.
the worst trap.
Just asking, why do we do it this way? Or why not try something different? That can open up totally new possibilities, more efficient ways, more innovative ways.
Spot on. And that leads right into strategic thinking. You see customer behavior shifting or a competitor suddenly taking off. The first most critical question has to be why.
Got to understand the drivers.
You have to. Understanding those underlying forces is everything for making smart strategic moves. And like you said, this applies everywhere. Giant corporations, solo franchisees, everyone.
And circling back to Amazon for a sec, the material highlights how Jassy points to that why culture being key for them. It helped uncover hidden problems, find better strategies.
And move faster, but with conviction. Because they understood the why behind the what.
Okay, so let's pivot specifically to franchising now. Because you might think, well, franchising is about systems, right? It's all laid out.
It is, largely. But that doesn't mean why becomes less important. Actually, maybe even more so in some ways, for both sides, the person buying in and the main company.
Right. Let's really dig into that. Our sources are emphatic about this.
Yeah.
You need to know your personal why before you even think about buying a franchise.
Absolutely non-negotiable.
Like, get brutally honest. Why do you really want to be your own boss? What's pushing you away from your current job? Why now? What makes this the right time?
That personal why, it's your anchor. It gives you that deep clarity. And believe me, when things get tough, and they will, that's what keeps you going. It's your compass.
Yeah, the material points out that good franchise consultants, that's often where they start. What's your why?
Because without it, you're kind of adrift.
Okay, so you figured out your personal why. Now you're looking at different franchise brands. That questioning needs to keep going, right?
Oh, absolutely. You need to be actively inquisitive. The sources give great examples, like ask, why is this brand expanding right now? What makes their top franchisees so successful? What are they actually doing differently?
Or even digging into the numbers, like why is the franchise fee structured exactly like this. What does that tell you?
Yes. And maybe the most important one, why does this specific business model fit, or maybe not fit, my skills, my experience, my life goals?
So it's about going way beyond the shiny brochure.
Way beyond. You got to dig. And those validation calls with current franchisees, huge opportunity. But don't just take the first answer.
Ask why again.
Always ask why again. If they say support is great, ask, okay, why do you say that? Can you give me a specific example? That second or third why is where the real gold is.
Okay, fast forward. You picked a brand, you're in training. Seems like a time to just absorb,
Duh.
right? Follow the system.
But understanding the reasoning behind the system, that's huge. It actually helps you learn faster and perform better down the line.
So asking things like,
Why do we do this process exactly this way? Or why are these KPIs the most important ones to track? It's not about being difficult.
no, it's about understanding the logic.
Exactly. Understanding the why behind the what. It helps you master the system quicker, and honestly, it sets you up to maybe lead or innovate later on.
Which leads perfectly into the next point.
Yeah.
Once you're an experienced franchisee running your unit, that why question doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It actually evolves.
Right. It becomes a tool for improvement. You start asking things like, why are my local customers behaving differently than the national ads assume? Or, why are those 3 locations over there doing so much better than everyone else? What's their secret sauce?
Or why isn't this big new marketing push working in my territory?
Precisely. And this is where franchisees stop being just operators and become, well, innovators almost. Franchisers value that kind of feedback. Good ones, anyway.
Yeah, the source mentioned franchise advisory councils.
Exactly. FACs, peer groups. There are forums for these kinds of discussions, often driven by franchisees asking why about something they're seeing on the ground. That's how brands evolve.
And this applies even when you're thinking about buying more units or maybe selling yours, right? Transaction.
That's critical during transactions.
Yeah.
Absolutely critical. You need to ask, why is this owner selling now? Is the asking price justified? And why? If someone wants to buy your unit, why are they interested in your specific area?
Or even, why would I sell now versus holding on and maybe building more value?
Yes. Understanding the motivations, the reasons. It's essential for making smart deals. The material even touches on private equity roll-ups. Asking why helps you understand the bigger strategy at play there.
So it's not just an individual thing. The sources talk about creating a whole culture of curiosity. What does that actually look like day to day?
Well, it means creating an environment where asking questions is genuinely encouraged, not punished, where training doesn't just say, do this, but explains why it's done that way.
Leaders have to model it too, presumably.
Definitely. Leaders asking why, showing they value thoughtful questions. And maybe most importantly, when mistakes happen because they do differently, the focus isn't blame, it's understanding. It's asking, okay, why did this happen? What can we learn?
Kind of circles back to that Amazon point again, doesn't it? Explaining the why behind results, not just the results themselves.
Exactly. It builds rigor, prevents complacency. The sources suggest brands that foster this curiosity are just more adaptable, more resilient, more successful, really.
Now, for a really practical tool, the material brings up the 5 whys technique. Toyota developed this, right?
That's the one. Super simple concept, incredibly powerful in practice.
Can you walk us through it quickly? How does it work?
Sure. So you have a problem, or maybe just an unexpected result. You just ask why, and then whatever the answer is, you ask why about that. And you keep going, maybe 5 times, maybe more or less.
The goal being?
The goal is to drill down past the obvious symptoms to find the actual root cause. The example in our source was great declining customer reviews.
Right, so why are reviews declining? Because response times are slow. Okay.
Yep.
Why are response times slow? Because we're understaffed. Why are we understaffed? Because people keep quitting unexpectedly.
Keep going. Why are they quitting? Because scheduling is inconsistent and unfair. And finally, why is scheduling inconsistent? Because we aren't using the scheduling software correctly.
Okay. So you went from bad reviews all the way down to misusing software.
Exactly. You found a specific, actionable root cause, not just the surface problem. And the beauty is, as the material points out, you can use this 5 whys approach on almost anything. Operations, hiring, marketing, innovation, anything.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the big takeaway here feels like, yes, franchising offers a system, a blueprint, but real success, that's not passive.
Not at all. It takes active engagement. It takes wanting to understand. And right at the core of that is constantly asking why.
It seems to be the thread connecting everything, doesn't it? From figuring out your personal motivation.
To researching brands properly, understanding your training, finding ways to improve operations, even navigating buying or selling.
It's always there. Ask why.
Keep asking why, and you keep learning, you keep growing, and, success becomes a lot more likely.
So for anyone listening who's maybe at that starting point,
Hmm.
thinking about franchises, trying to figure out their own why,
Yeah, maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed by all the options or just unsure if it's the right path for them. Getting some guidance can be really helpful. Asking the right why questions is key.
that's a really great point. And on that note, if you are exploring franchising, trying to figure out if it fits, or maybe nail down that personal why, we definitely recommend reaching out to George Nauf over at myperfectfranchise.com.
George is great. He really specializes in helping people navigate this whole process.
Yeah, he can help you sort through the options, understand if ownership makes sense for you, your skills, your goals, and really help you start asking those critical why questions about your own situation. He can definitely help you understand why you can be successful in franchising. Worth a conversation.
Definitely. So maybe the final thought for everyone listening today, as you go about your business or even just your day, take a moment, reflect on your own why.
What's really driving you?
Yeah. What assumptions are you operating under without even realizing it? And what could you unlock? What deeper understanding could you gain just by asking that simple, powerful question, why?
Something to think about. It really could change things.